Presentations are a nerve-wracking experience for many. The spotlight, the expectant audience, and the pressure to deliver a compelling message can combine to create a perfect storm of anxiety. One of the most common manifestations of this anxiety is the dreaded slippery tongue. That moment when words fail us, our carefully rehearsed script evaporates, and we find ourselves stumbling, stammering, or even saying something completely unintended. While the slippery tongue can be embarrassing, it doesn't have to derail an entire presentation. Effective management of these moments is crucial for maintaining composure, credibility, and ultimately delivering a successful presentation. The causes of a slippery tongue are varied. Nerves, fatigue, lack of preparation, or even a simple distraction can contribute to it. Sometimes it's a mental block where our brains momentarily misfire, leaving us grasping for words. Other times, it's a physical reaction to stress, like a dry mouth or racing heart, that interferes with our ability to articulate clearly. Regardless of the cause, the feeling is often the same. A sudden sense of panic, coupled with the awareness that we are losing control. The key to managing a slippery tongue lies in preparation and practice. Thoroughly knowing your material is of paramount importance. The more comfortable you are with the content, the less likely you are to stumble when nerves kick in. Practice, practice, practice. Rehearsing your presentation out loud, ideally in front of a mirror or a test audience, helps you identify potential problem areas and refine your delivery. This also builds confidence, which can significantly reduce anxiety and the likelihood of a slippery tongue. However, even the most prepared presenter can experience a verbal hiccup. The real test is how you handle it. The worst thing you can do is to panic or try to pretend it didn't happen. Acknowledge the slip-up briefly and carefully, as well as gracefully. A simple "excuse me" or "let me rephrase that" is often enough. Don't dwell on it or apologize profusely, as this will only draw more attention to the mistake and further erode your confidence. For instance, I once witnessed a seasoned presenter, a university professor, completely blank during a crucial part of his lecture. He was explaining a complex scientific concept, and suddenly he just stopped. His face a picture of bewilderment. Instead of panicking, he chuckled and said, "Well, it seems my brain has temporarily gone on vacation. Let's take a 5-second pause for it to return." The audience laughed along with him, and he used that brief pause to collect his thoughts. He then continued his explanation flawlessly. His ability to acknowledge the slip-up with humor and move on without losing his composure was truly impressive. Another effective strategy is to have a mental toolkit of phrases to use when you find yourself struggling for words. Phrases such as "that's a good question" and "I'll address that in more detail." Or alternatively, "let me clarify that," can buy you time to gather your thoughts without appearing flustered. If you completely lose your train of thought, don't be afraid to take a short break. A sip of water, a brief glance at your notes, or even a moment of silence can help you regain focus. A powerful anecdote comes to mind about a young entrepreneur pitching his startup to a panel of investors. He was incredibly nervous and his voice was trembling. Midway through his pitch, he completely garbled a key statistic. He stopped, took a deep breath, and said, "I apologize. I seem to have gotten my numbers mixed up. Let me double check that." He calmly consulted his notes, corrected the error, and continued his pitch. The investors were actually impressed by his composure and honesty. He didn't try to bluff or cover up his mistake. He simply acknowledged it and moved on. Finally, remember that the audience is generally forgiving. They understand that everyone makes mistakes, especially when speaking in public. A minor slip-up is unlikely to ruin your presentation unless you let it. Focus on your message, connect with your audience, and maintain a confident demeanor. Even if you stumble along the way, your passion and knowledge will shine through. To conclude, a slippery tongue is a common and often unavoidable part of presenting. While preparation and practice can minimize the risk, it's essential to have strategies in place to manage these moments effectively. By acknowledging slip-ups gracefully, using filler phrases strategically, and maintaining composure, you can overcome a slippery tongue as well as deliver a successful and impactful presentation. Thank you very much for your time.